Great. So, welcome everyone again. Thank you for joining us this evening on our 1st of May holiday edition Hangout. Especially thank you to most of you are in the EU. You should be on holiday, so I'm glad you could spend a short time with us. As usual, we'll do this brief presentation. Hopefully this will be half an hour at most altogether. Brief 10-15 minute presentation and some Q&A at the end for answering any questions you have, which may not be related to the things we're talking about, but we do like to share a little bit of a sort of an update. If you have a question, please feel free to interrupt us, but if you also want to put it in the comments in the chat forum, then we'll see that and we'll be able to answer them in due course. So today we've got with us Kris, as usual. Thank you for joining, as always, Kris. And our new colleague, Ana, who will be telling us more about herself in a minute. So today we're going to be talking a quick overview of the beta test group of the S2 night counts. I'm not sure if you were involved. I can't remember, Tor, if you volunteered or not. No.
I don't have an S2 yet.
That was right.
That's why I'm going to be asking some questions afterwards.
Perfect. Well, it's great to hear we're encouraging you on there. So we'll tell you a little bit more about what happened with that, because that was obviously a community activity, which is fantastic. And then a little bit about international growth, which is not yet a community activity, but we'd like to involve our community in that, get us started and see where things go. So a little night count update. I don't know if you want to do some of this, Kris. I'm happy to go through it.
Yeah, you start, and I'll jump in when it becomes very technical.
Yes. How did you know? Yes. So as you may have seen from our last recording, about just over a month ago, in fact 2 months ago, we recruited 25 users of S2s around the world to install the latest version of our firmware, which was a trial version only to those devices, so that it could test our algorithm, which we were working on to do night counts. So we went through it last time. If you want to hear the details of what the night count involves, do check out that video. But just to let you know that what they had to do was nothing in terms of the device. We updated the device, but it then did some validations. And the combination of their validations and the data we got was very useful for us to test out this algorithm in real life settings, because obviously it works in the lab, it works in our office, but then we've got to get it out in the world and see different settings with whatever. We do know that there was an issue to do with the light levels, which is what determines night. So really useful test. And because we had so many devices, it's given us a chance to understand what the issue was and change our methodology a little bit and retest that, which is what we're doing now. So the trials are ongoing. We'll be updating those. If you're involved with a beta group, you still don't have to do anything. The validations, you don't need to do them again. You can do a validation anytime you want. But we will be updating the firmware and test it again. And the good news is that the new version that we've got, thanks to that test, is showing very good promise, and we hope to be updating that firmware very soon. He says it could be within days, hopefully days, if not weeks.
Yeah. Want me to jump in here, Rob?
Yes, I'll not. I don't want to go into the. I didn't go into the technical details of how it works, but you may.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. So the core of the night count is that we will have 2 different detection models for day and night. So what we are now doing is we added for this firmware, this test firm, a night model. It works completely differently. So it's the night model detects basically the headlights of passing objects. So as discussed before, that means that there will be a single object category for the night, because it will be impossible to distinguish between trucks and buses and cars, and pedestrians will be impossible to count, but you will have good data for the night. So what has the test shown? I think 2 major things. So we already tested in our locations and 2 others, I think, ourselves. There it worked really well. we've tested now in 25 locations. What we've seen in the majority of the locations, it works fine as well. So that means that we detect the amount of cars with a slight undercount, but there's a few devices, a few locations where the discrepancy between the ground truth, the real world data, and the counts were a bit high. We don't really know what's happening there, but we're going to still release it and collect more information. And so if we're gonna probably poll some users if they think that there's massive undercounts at night, then we're gonna see if we can tweak parameters or improve even further. At least in our assessment, what we've learned from the beta test is that the quality for us a representative sample of the S2 device that we've polled is good enough for release. So that's what we're gonna do. Now, we almost released it, and then we noticed that you could see with the new firmware that you have like during the daytime flip-flop between the day and the night model. Now this is a technical thing, but I think it's worth explaining for this group because I think it's interesting. The flip-flop, like say the change between a day model and a night model, is using the light, the strength of the light. Now what we did see is that it's very important to put this threshold right. If you put this threshold too high, then you will stay in the day model during the night and you will have missed detections. If you put it too low, then you will jump to night model already too fast during the day. And the second part is what happened. So you actually, when you have sufficient light, sometimes the sensor switch to the night model, which is then missing all pedestrians because it's so different. So we have to tweak there the hysteresis parameters when you have to switch between night and day, and it wasn't that simple. So that's something that we learned from the beta test, and we had to test a few times. But now, and now I'm talking as in Monday. I think Peter checked after the new test over the weekend, and now it's stable. So now we're back to deployment. I think the plan is we'll check in with Peter, but he will do a first batch release first, not all the S2 devices, but I think about 10 or 20% or so. So if you're lucky, then you're part of it. And then if we see that there's no issue with the firmware of it, then we're just going to release everything. So like Rob mentioned, this is going to be a matter of weeks. I mean, I think next week probably. I mean, if nothing's going wrong with this small batch, and there's no reason why there should be something going wrong, that will already be, I think, tomorrow or Friday, I think, and then next week the whole installed base, or at worst maybe a week after. So we're curious to see them. So we'll see what response will be. And if you have an S2 device and you can see all of a sudden that it's also starting to count at night, I mean, feel free to do a validation and share us the data. We're curious to gather as much feedback as possible from this new firmware. On the website, so on the front end, don't know if you've noticed, but there will be a new category, which is then a gray block, which will be all the objects which are detected during the night model, and you'll see how this nicely falls, and that's what this graph actually shows. You'll see how the daytime categories will flow over into the night categories. You'll get a smooth curve rather than this cutoff which you've had up to now. So for us, this is going to end like a major development cycle. We've been working for, I don't know, a year and a half on this. It was much more difficult than we thought, but I think with the result is good, and I think we're really confident with releasing this. So let's see. I'm very curious about the feedback we'll get from everybody. So that's night counts.
Perfect. And I'll actually share a link after this, well, tomorrow when I post the video, to the validation exercise. If you want to do a validation once you see the thing coming, it's always useful for us to validate what you see versus what our data shows, so we can do some checks. Great. So next topic, international growth. So I'd like to introduce Ana, who will hopefully maybe tell us a little bit about herself and her background. She's just joined us, I think, what's about just less than a month, I think, about a month. And maybe just hear from her some ideas of how we what our international growth means for us. Not planning on taking over Meta or anything, not yet.
Yet.
Yet. Anna,
Exactly.
over to you.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Rob, for the very good introduction. So yes, it's exactly 1 month ago that I joined Telraam. I joined the 2nd of April because the first was also a holiday. Yes, I come from a completely different world. I did a lot of consulting in past life, past history, and then I developed into the SaaS world. I worked the past almost 5 years in a scale-up, a French scale-up, which was a unicorn, helping the teams, the revenue teams, accelerate their growth and expand internationally. So I'm very, very happy to join the Telraam team to introduce the world what Telraam is capable of doing. It's very exciting. And we do have many ideas with the team. I won't tell you all of them because they are really many, and they are cooking internally. I spent the past month assessing with the whole team where we are, how we are doing. We're in more than 30 countries already, which is very interesting. We have more than 2,000 devices, mainly in Europe, of course. That's clear, but it's very clear that there is attraction. It's very clear that there is curiosity, and that there is something to do with the Telraam devices, which is very good. It's very interesting. We've done a lot organically. There is a lot of community and a lot of activism around the values and the idea of Telraam. So we want to use all this to expand and to go more exponentially. Of course, we want, based on that, our idea is to create kind of an ecosystem of partners, different partners that can create this network in the big sense of the term, and expand from there. Mainly, of course, we'll focus mainly in Europe at the beginning because we have to start from somewhere, and because we cannot be everywhere at the same time. But the idea is to go fast and work with this community that we see that exists already, and that can help us spread the word and make things concrete. So overall, that's the surface of it, that it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. So yeah, I just want to add, while we are maybe in 30 countries, the majority of devices still is in where we actually are, where Telraam is. So that's Belgium, Flanders, bit of the Netherlands, and you will see devices pop up in the international, but not that much. So it really is for us a matter of, I mean, look at the attendance of this meeting. I mean, I think most of you are not from Belgium, so there is curiosity as honest from outside, but we don't know how to do this better, how to bring Telraam better. And yeah, I want to emphasize one thing as the partnership thing. So Telraam is something which is grassroots, bottom up. I mean, we start from community, and we actually think spreading Telraam beyond Belgium and Netherlands in partnership, the same approach should work. So we're going to look for partners internationally who will spread the word for us or with us that you can work with Telraam and you can collect traffic counting data in this way. So that's Anna's task ahead.
Absolutely, and it goes very well with the whole idea of the device, right? The same way we use citizen engagement and this network of citizens to gather traffic information to transform mobility and transform the whole landscape of sustainable mobility. We want to do the same. We want to take the same idea when we talk internationally. So we'll definitely look for partners in different ways of partnerships. So yes, spread the word.
So this is the intro. This is clear that I want to share that we have this ambition. You will see some actions probably in the next few months that will be focusing on this international focus that we're going to get. But you've got the premiere as you joined the meeting. So there's Anna who will take on this behemoth of a task. Right, Rob, do you have more slides, or shall we just move to Q&A? Okay.
No, that was mainly it. Just to say, obviously, that Telraam Talks as the community is also at the center of this, at least in terms of the current state, which is reaching out to people who are already curious, who are already interacting with us, who have questions, who might want to reach out and say, you know, what can I do in my country, in my region to, probably because you're already doing some stuff in a campaign, you then we can support you to grow that because it helps us, it helps you. Or you know, if you just want to ask us questions, we'll all be there on Telraam Talks to answer these, and or you can email us direct. But Telraam Talks keeps it sort of public and share the good news.